All right. Oh, we're live. We're live. CNC Sci Fi Grill is live today on Saturday, February 13th, day
Ooh,
before Valentine's Day. And we
The
are
frigidness.
gathering.
The frigidness.
Gathering. I don't know about frigidness. It's 40 here. Y'all have fun.
it's like 50 with me. I don't know what y'all
It just seems Big Nate is the one that's cold around here.
Weirdly
It's
enough,
winter.
I'm in the southern New Mexico, and it's 18 degrees currently, or 19. Give it a degree, and we're supposed to get down to like 0 tomorrow night and get some snow.
Y'all can keep that. That's none of my business.
I'm shocked. We never get this down here.
That's none of my business. I moved for a reason.
I did too. I got hoodwinked.
Okay. Well, to my left is Big Nate.
Whoop.
And below me and Big Nate is my daughter Christina, coming from
Right.
the sunny, but cool state of California.
Ooh.
And I am Cliff, and I'm coming from the cloudy and rainy state of Georgia. Peach state that it is. So we are gathering to discuss WandaVision episode 6, which has opened eyes to a lot of the theories and squashed some of the others, but maybe not really squashed them. So we're gonna start this off. I'm gonna let everybody know we are going to have spoilers. So many spoilers, and this episode was so deep that Big Nate had to write notes.
He took notes, y'all.
He had to take notes to go over all the things he wants to go over.
Honestly, I feel like I should have taken notes, but I was just lazy, so I didn't.
So the episode starts off, and it actually started off with a song montage, which, that's how, if anybody didn't know, and I hadn't watched the show in a long time, that's how Malcolm in the Middle used to start.
Yes,
I was thinking even Stevens, so I wasn't too far off.
It was probably a cross between both of those. It was Malcolm in the Middle. And then the whole episode was kind of Malcolm because you had Billy and Tommy talking to the camera like Malcolm. So they were breaking the fourth wall per se.
More like the fifth wall.
So, they had a little montage showing, and it's interesting. Vision doesn't have a last name. So all the twins' last names is all Maximovs. Because Vision is just the Vision. And I noticed something. Agnes is a part of the family. Yeah. She's at the beginning of the opening. With Naughty on her ass. For some reason, Naughty is written on her ass.
I was like, did you?
I mean, I feel like it plays into what happens later on.
Mm-hmm.
In that scene, we'll get to it.
Yeah. What were you saying, Big Nate?
No, I was like, how you got Naughty wrote on your butt?
If you recall, and I don't know if that was early 2000, but there used to be pants out that had that the women would wear.
Yeah, that's early 2000. So I'm like, why is this in like the 80s episode? It was
it wasn't 80s. Malcolm in the Middle was late 90s, early 2000s.
It was late 90s, 2003.
Did we skip the 80s?
No, 80s was last. 80s was it was 80s and early 90s was last week's episode.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
All that corduroy, that was 80s.
Yeah, that was Vision had on. Vision had on a corduroy shirt. That's how he was.
That was straight 80s.
That was straight 80s and late 80s, early 90s.
Gotcha.
So they had that montage. Then there was a little thing where the twins, because Pietro would sleep on the couch. Uncle Pietro would sleep on the couch.
Whoa. You skipping stuff. Listen,
what did I skip?
You skipped the fact that the song, when they were doing the montage, was so important.
The lyrics,
because it was about chaos. Because it was saying we're all in chaos.
But not just in chaos.
It was also like
just go with it. And it immediately started talking about how no matter what's going on, if things are out of control, just go with it. And it said, because you never know who's going to show up. And that's when they said with Pietro Maximoff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because that told me Wanda really wasn't expecting him to show.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was dope. That was really dope. Whoever wrote that entrance, literally, just go with it. Just go with it. I was like, I had to play it twice. I told you I took notes. I had to play it twice. That intro was dope. Now get into it. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So Billy and Tommy are sitting there getting cereal, as most kids did on Saturday morning, and Pietro's on the couch sleep, as most deadbeat uncles are.
Wait. The man-child.
The man-child. And if
I don't have any deadbeat uncles, so I don't know
so this is the problem, and you see it throughout the whole thing. This is Wanda's image of Pietro. It's not really Pietro, and that's not how he was even in X-Men.
No.
Or when they met him, he always got on her because, he was like, I'm older than you. And that was one of the last things he said to her before he died was, I'm older than you. And she was like, yeah, go somewhere.
Right.
Go help everybody. But he sleep on the couch. And the boys are like, is he a vampire? Where did he come from? And then he wakes up and scares them. And then,
there's a whole scene with them. It's kind of cute.
Right. And he's running around using his powers and stuff. And it's pretty cute. And then Wanda comes downstairs in her Halloween costume, which is her actual costume from
the comics.
From the comics.
Like, it's not even the costume that she wore, like, in the movies. Like, I'm like, did this woman just come down dressed as herself?
Yes.
Oh,
and they said it was a Zakovian fortune teller. And I'm like, what kind of fortune teller dresses like that? Okay.
Sure.
Maybe in New Orleans and Las Vegas fortune tellers dress like that, but I don't think Zakovia they dress like that. So then, I don't know if you guys noticed. So Vision came downstairs. The cutest things about their costumes are they're basically stuff around the house. So it's not really Vision's costume. It pays homage to it, but he's wearing gym shorts over tights and stuff. But the other thing is that he's like, I didn't have anything else to wear, and that's a little thing saying that she rewrote everything, and he doesn't have any clothes except that. And he hinted at that, and she looked at him because this whole episode was them going back and forth for the first 10 minutes. And Billy, I can't remember if it was Billy or Tommy, but he was like, Mom and Dad have been at ass lately.
It was Billy.
Yeah, he's like, Mom and Dad has been at odds lately.
No, but he didn't have any other clothes. But then also, remember they had that whole luchador interaction saying he was a Mexican wrestler. Mm-hmm. And so that was actually a throwback to Malcolm in the Middle. And I was like, oh, wow. Mm-hmm. That's where Malcolm in the Middle is.
And they even said it, if you think about it, Malcolm's dad was he was a dumbass. Excuse my French, but he was a dumbass. Nice. And he wasn't the best with common sense, which is a little bit different than Vision, because Vision has a whole lot more common sense than Malcolm's Malcolm's dad, which is Bryan Cranston. But they were at odds in this whole thing, which is kind of like how Malcolm's parents were throughout the whole series.
Awesome.
And there was a funny thing, and I know, Nate, you probably don't watch it, and CJ, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it was a Family Guy episode where they made fun of Malcolm in the Middle, and the dad, I think, ended up shooting the mom, and he went over to the boys, and they were like, boys, we're finally free, and they walked off into the sunset. Because she was she was yelling 24/7 for no reason.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Malcolm in the Middle's mom was a control freak. And
true.
What are we dealing with but Wanda taking control of
everyone?
Whole town?
Mm-hmm. And they get into that, and we're going to get into that later about, she had mentioned in the previous episode, well, I can't handle a whole town. But we see later on that she actually is. And some of Nate's theories about what's going on in the rest of the town when they're not around the main cast, which is Wanda and her family, you see what's going on with the rest of the town. And it's not pleasant at all.
It's not.
I was on to something. I'm trying to tell you.
So Pietro, they have a little flashback, which is hilarious to me, to when they were kids in Sokovia trick or treating.
Oh my
He's
god!
dressed up as Nick Fury. That's the only thing I can think he is because he's got the eye patch on. So he's Nick Fury. I couldn't tell what she was, and they end up getting a fish from the lady, and the lady's like, "Touche." You're sitting there like.
Disgusting. And I love how she said, "That's not how I remember." And he says, "That's because you have repressed memories."
No! When he was just like, "You have this habit of repressing trauma," I was like, "Oh,
yes.
You dropped the bombs early today."
Right. I told y'all I took notes, y'all.
I think he was her id, basically. I think he was the sane side of her, basically pointing out a lot of things to her.
Oh, yeah, he did. Because at the end, it was real straight. He was like, wow.
Because Vision couldn't. Because she wasn't listening to Vision. So she needed another outside influence. Because Vision tried to talk to her. And then Pietro showed up because she wasn't listening to Vision. She just somehow he appeared. During all this, we flash over to, I'm trying to think of the timeline. We flash over to the real world outside of Westview. Mm-hmm. And I'm so tired of the leaders of federal organizations just being total jackwagons.
Wait a minute, tired of that. I know you're tired of it, but Hayward is playing the hell out of Hayward. Mm-hmm. You might not like the way that they always, organize it, and I get that's their ode to telling the government to stick it. I get it. But you can't tell me that Hayward and then Darcy and Unraveling, we're going to get to that later. You can't tell me that Hayward is not playing a damn good Hayward. But go ahead.
So,
love of God, sir. So, I wanted to slap him the entire episode, which was
Monica's sitting there. Darcy made a nice little joke about, oh, look, it's the guy that had the execution squad turn on him. Right? And he goes, "Do you work for me?" And she's like, "I don't think so."
She was like, "I don't know."
And technically, this is supposed to be a joint op between the FBI and SWORD, but maybe SWORD just has more. It's kind of like when the FBI shows up with local cops, and the local cops are like, "Well, I can't do anything." No, you can't, because we're the FBI. You can't do jack diddly squat.
Yeah, but SWORD he's overstepping his authority. But go ahead. Well, we see later why, but let's keep going.
So they're talking about attacking again and trying to get in. And to me, after what just happened in the last episode, at what point in time do you think your normal weapons or your normal anything you think of is going to work on a telepath?
And especially after what happens later, you really think they're going to work? Really? Because we all know he's not going to
If you think she froze a town, which Monica brings up, she's the key to getting this back to normal. And he was just like, "Oh, you're so naive." And he even used her dead mom as a weapon.
Wait, and that's what I'm about to say. That's one of my notes. I wrote down, I said, Hayward's comment about Monica's mom dying and how glad she wasn't, like, when I'm glad she wasn't around because you don't have the stomach for it. And the way that Monica's mouth dropped. Yeah. I was like, he is playing the hell out of a bad Hayward. That dude dropping bombs.
But it's all lies. Dang on well, Monica's mom would not be like this.
Oh, no, not at all.
No, he's just another suit who didn't know how to deal with what happened 5 years ago. And he was like, "Oh, we have to keep the lights on and all this stuff." From what it appeared to me, the Avengers that were left were running the world and helping the world.
Literally.
It wasn't him. He wasn't anywhere around from all the
but he was another one of those suits that was so scared as to what happened
And
that
so
they
were like, I have to blow everything up.
right. So they think that they can build more weapons or more of this to prevent it from
He's
happening.
basically pulling a Tony, except not with good intentions.
And he doesn't understand that that's how they got Ultron. It's like they're still
or either he
using
doesn't
the
understand
same.
Or he doesn't care.
So they end up kicking Monica, Darcy, and Jimmy out, which was Jimmy and Monica's plan to begin with. And Jimmy, of all people, knocks out the sword agents easily.
Yo, I was not prepared for that. They started going ham, and I was like, oh.
And Darcy is the funniest one because she's sitting there like, was you guys gonna tell me the plan?
Darcy's like, I'm just a scientist.
Right. And that's why they didn't tell her. Because you the brains. We just need you to type on a computer. We got the rest.
So Darcy is not only evidently a astrophysicist, but she's also a hacker because that's what all multi-generational children are in this day and age.
We try our best,
So they dispatch the sword agents, lock them up in a storage bin, and then they end up, which will come back later to guys, because what happened to them after what happened with at the end. So they put on the sword things and they go in and they start breaking into the mainframe, basically. So back to
so fast.
Right.
She's I just got to hack into Hayward's computer.
Yeah, I only got literally firewalls to go through.
Literally 2 seconds. She was like, done. I was so thirsty. What the
No. That was the first firewall. That was the first firewall. So there's 4 she's got to go through. So, and before all that happened, actually, there was the dynamic between Wanda and Vision. And Vision basically lies to Wanda and says he's going on a neighborhood watch. And she's like, well, how could you miss the boys' first Halloween? And he's sitting there like, shoot, I missed 10 years of their life because they grew themselves up anyway.
But I love how he just looked like, she says, well, you didn't tell me you had plans. Well, I'm telling you now. And that's what Billy was like, things are different. And I'm like, yeah, he's standing up for himself.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, you've never, and she even said it in the last episode, you've never talked to me like this. And I'm going to have to say he has spoken to her like that. In Civil War, he tried to stop her and he was very forceful, but he wasn't polite to her.
Yeah.
And he's not. And even in Infinity War, he was like, look, you got to kill me. You got to kill me. You got to kill me. He was begging her.
Yeah.
So it's not like he hasn't, tried to hold his position with her before. Like, look, you need to do this. This is something you need to do.
Yeah. And remember, this is a construct of what she wants, not so much the real.
So to her, he shouldn't be acting like this.
And so that's just another, to me, dynamic of her losing a little control or more control, which will be key when we get to the end of this episode. Keep going.
Lord
so he ends up leaving, and because Pietro's like, look, I'll be the father figure, which is another side of her id. I'll be the father figure for you guys, in Vision's place, because Vision's going to go out on patrol. And so they go out into the neighborhood, and what did Vision say last week that the town was missing?
Children.
And what did we see all over this town?
Kids.
Everywhere.
And like for a town that size, that was way too many kids.
There's 3,000 citizens in that town. So you would think there's probably about maybe 20% of the population would be children, I would imagine, which is about 600 kids. So it's about right.
Again, every time she gets hit with a question, she rewrites something and makes it cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's got kids and lots and lots of people.
And he brings it up. Pietro brings it up. He's like, oh, well, you need kids. Good job on the kids, bringing them in for a special guest appearance, holiday episode.
A lot of the show, but go ahead.
No, he said that before, while they were walking down the town, while they was walking down the street. And she brought up another thing, like, where did your accent go? And he goes, "Where did yours go?"
I said go. I was like,
but that's later. You're jumping a lot of the show, but go
Okay,
ahead.
well then you go ahead.
Well,
What-
I mean,
what-
my thing is, I was I want to go back to when she started asking him all those questions about the kid that was stealing his shoes and he had the face problem, and he's like, "You're testing me. You're testing me." And then they're talking back and forth. The kids come back and he uses the kids to run off so they can do all that havoc. Because I love how Herb was going, "Wait, there's no chocolate?" And you see them buzz around and there's no chocolate. And then he goes, "Wait, people have silly string?" And then you see him with the silly string. And that's when she finds out, of course, that Vision was not a part of the watch. But what's interesting is Herb turned around and said, "Wanda, you okay?"
you want to change something?
Which is the same thing that Agnes said in the episode before.
And so
Or along those lines.
Herb also is aware enough to, even though she's controlling him, but he's aware enough to know she's the show and running it. She's in charge. And then like you said, they were talking about that, and then it cuts to now Vision is walking through the town because he says he has to go. Herb says he has to go, and then they cut to Vision walking through the town, and that blew my mind because that's what I was saying before, talking about, are they like zombies? Are they just sitting there? Does she just have them sitting idle? And what really creeped me out,
Dude, that lady
was when Vision walked up on the lady and she was pinning up the webbing, put back the webbing, pin up the webbing,
and her husband behind her was like picking up a jack-o'-lantern and then putting it back.
And a tear was
Came
down
out
her.
of her eye. Yeah.
And I was just like, that tells me these people really are in pain.
Well, not only that, but this also proves a point, the further you get away from Wanda and Vision, the more likely you're just standing there in some kind of zombified state.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a little bit of movement when you're close to them. You get a little bit further away, you get a little less movement. You get even further away, nothing. You're frozen.
Which we find out later.
She just has them in stasis until she needs them. They're just in
props.
zombies.
They're props.
They're props,
Until she needs them in shoot. But until then, you're just going to sit there and do nothing. And that was creepy as hell.
And the thing with Herb was she totally ignored it again, just like she did with Agnes. She was just like, huh? And she just totally ignored what he said. And just took it at face value. And I'm sitting there like, so she's totally gone. Like, she's not even paying attention to what people are telling her. She is, but she isn't.
I think that, she's so schismed right now. She broke. And she lost too many people that she cared about, and she broke. And now that she broke, the part, I don't even know if she's still being played. I don't know if she's playing herself. And there's just parts of her psyche that are taking over different things, and the one is warring against the other. And like you say, Pietro had to come in because he's got to be the voice of reason. But
because he did the first time he got outside, he was like, "Oh, you did good on the town, sis. You did good. I'm amazed. This is beautiful." And she's just like, "Huh?
Oh yeah, it is nice, isn't it?"
Yeah, because I sat there and said, Pietro. I wrote my notes. Pietro knows that she has controlling things. She doesn't have control of him because he, like he said, when they were talking about him looking different, he was like, "I just think you didn't want to see me for the way it was." And
he drops another tooth bomb on him because she was like, "Where did you come from?" And he's like, "I don't know. I remember dying on the streets and then you calling me.
And then you saying you needed me.
That was it.
I was."
And he was like, "How do you know this isn't me? I mean, this could be your vision of me. Or this is how you think of me." And it could be, I mean, as a sister, you have two brothers. It's possible you could think of your brothers as man children. Yes.
Now, did anybody catch?
No comment.
Did you anybody catch how? Well, I know you don't have any comment, Christina, because you do have a man-child brother. But I digress. Did anybody catch that when it wasn't? I cannot. It was Tommy. Where he said when they were running, and he says, "Now for super speed," and Tommy said, "Kick ass." And Wanda said kick ass, and I fell out laughing. I said, because in the kick ass, both Pietros played in kick ass.
Yeah. One was actually kick ass, and the other one was his best friend.
Right. And
Aaron Taylor Johnson was kick ass, and then Evan Peters was his best friend.
And I was like, shut up, because I remember watching that movie, and I didn't go watch it again, but I paused. I said, wait. And I went in the brain, and I said, shut up. Open kick butt. It was open kick ass. For real. I said that was dopey dope. And then Elijah's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, you know what? Kick ass. And then I turned the movie back on.
I don't know if you want him to watch Kick Ass.
No, I
didn't. Not suitable for children.
No. So there was that reference. There was a lot of little references throughout the thing. And Darcy, during all this, to Big Nate's point, when Vision was walking around, we find out that Hayworth has been tracking vibranium because Vision is basically made out of vibranium.
But also, they said decaying vibranium.
That means his body is actually decaying.
Yeah.
So he's not alive. He's basically something walking around, being held together by Wanda. And we see that much later on. We see what the after effect of that is.
And so sitting there, and I wrote down, Hayward really doesn't like people with superpowers.
No, he doesn't.
And then Hayward was tracking Vision, and I sat there and said, because if we remember, when she went and broke Vision out, she stole his body. He was hooked up to all their machines because he was using Vision to create more bombs or more of this.
Kind of like what they did with the Space Stone or the Tesseract, where they tried to use it to make weapons. So again, another federal organization too stupid to understand what they're doing.
Well, I mean, they're a branch of S.H.I.E.L.D., so are we really surprised?
I wonder if Fury even knows that's going on because he was gone. Remember, Fury just came back because he was snapped. Him and Hill were snapped. So this is why they really didn't have leadership. I don't think they would have went this way with Vision if Fury was there.
Yeah.
But, Fury's not there, but Tony Stark is not there.
No, he's gone. Yeah, he's gone too.
And so he's floating around in space. So my point is,
no. Tony Stark is dead. Oh, you're talking about Fury because Stark is dead at this point.
Right. Okay. So
Thanos is gone. Yeah.
Right. So Stark is dead. They don't have any way to get that tech. So now they've got Vision to get the tech because Tony's no longer alive. And I'm like, this son of a gun has a really dark secret. Vision's part of it, but Darcy's digging further. And I'm like, keep going, Darcy. Keep going, Darcy. Keep going.
And a lot of people don't like her, and I loved her in Thor. I loved her because she's just the way she said. The way she says Mjolnir is the way she says Mjolnir, which is Mew Mew.
I freaking love Darcy. She's like the perfect comedic sarcasm.
Oh, she's wonderful.
Fit into like everything because
that's how she is on
all the Avengers. Like all the Avengers except for Thor to a certain extent are all like so serious, and then you have her and freaking Peter Parker. Goofy and adorable.
Hey, have you guys ever seen this old movie? I think it took place on this ice planet, and they had these things, and they wrapped the cords around it, and Tony is just like, I want to hurt this kid. I want to hurt him so bad.
Oh God. So funny.
But wait. But my thing is when now it's Tommy. Tommy figures out he's got super speed.
So he starts running.
He's like,
right, and Wanda stops him.
Wanda just grabs him. And then first she says, take your brother. And he says, oh, man. And then he turns around and she says, and we know, don't go past Ellis Avenue.
Which is where Vision actually went.
But what is key for Ellis Avenue? The boundary.
Of the hex. It's the boundary of the hex. So he takes off, whizzing by. Now, we skipped over a big thing, and this is partially my fault. When Pietro, after Vision left, went and grabbed his costume.
Bruh.
And him and Tommy came back looking like his comic book part. And that's actually... And that's actually, you know, he has... Tommy, I think it's Tommy, has the super speed. So he did at one point in time have his uncle's, like an homage to his uncle's uniform. So both of them are dressed the same, which is basically just some shorts and a shirt with lightning on it. Mm-hmm. And then their hair has like, he had the hair gel in his hand, which I don't know if they was making fun of Gorilla Glue, but I think that this has already been filmed before the Gorilla Glue. But his hair was up like Pietro's is in the comic books, which was always just, how do you wear your hair like that? Just, who designed you?
Hairspray for days.
Awkward.
So, yeah. So everybody was wearing their costumes. Even Wiccan, who is Billy, he was wearing his costume basically from the comic books, an homage to that. So they were kind of busy with everything that they were doing in the show. But go ahead, Nate.
We already talked about how the further you get away from the town square and from Wanda and Vision, the more they become zombie-like. And so, you know, we had the first scene when he was so far out. Then he went all the way to the edge, and the people aren't even moving. They're
not moving. They're not blinking. They're just there.
They're just there. And I'm like, she literally has them set over like props. And what she did was, if you notice, all the folks that were stoic and not moving, but they were all still dressed in Halloween fair. So she's so dope. This is where I'm sitting over there with Pietro. This is incredible. How are you doing all this? Because she must have got him out of bed, put him in stuff that was for Halloween, and just left him there. Now it's cold outside. You see the breath, and they ain't moving. And then when they're done with that episode, she just goes stick them back in the house and
in their bed. In their bed. So this takes us back to the end of episode 5 where Vision's and she's sitting there like, you think I could plan out everybody's day and all that? No, you don't have to. You put them in stasis so they don't have to be planned out. So they don't have to do anything. You basically put them to sleep in a coma and then pull them out when you need them.
Terrible.
And you can see from Hayward's thing that Darcy's using what's going on as far as, you know, these are all these people and they're not moving. And Darcy even points it out, like, why are those people aren't moving as Vision goes past them. And he ends up running into Agnes, who is just sitting there in a car.
That was a crazy scene. That was wild.
So she's sitting there in a car because, what's up, Wild Knight? So she's sitting there in a car, sitting there. She's almost talking, but she's like, "Where's the town center? Where's the town center?" And Vision's like, "Oh, the center's back this way," and she really isn't.
It's like I must have taken a wrong turn, and he's like,
"Right
in the town you grew up in." She was like,
"Yeah."
But remember, the further you get away from Wanda, the less or the weaker the control is. So
but you're still frozen.
Right. Right. But the thing is, she, as long as she's up under Wanda, which remember, she's part of the family now, because she was at the beginning with the thing running around her butt. So my point is, she made a right-hand turn, and she got lost because Wanda's control lessened. And she's sitting there at the edge as we look at, and you know where it is, and they have that broke down. And literally, when they start talking, that also told him, she says, "You're an Avenger," and he was like, "What's an Avenger?"
You missed.
Hold on. I also want to bring something up. So this echoed back to her having naughty on her. I thought that she was trying to leave.
Well, she also has,
and
if you notice, she has a lot more autonomy than anybody else. And to Wild Knight's point, he says if Wanda's controlling her. So Wanda might be controlling her, but she might not be because she always pops up with stuff they need.
Yeah. And she didn't do that this episode. She didn't do that.
No, she didn't show up until the end.
So
almost the end.
I thought that she had naughty on her in like the first montages, like
because she was
later. Maybe she's trying to leave.
She was trying to get away. I got you.
And maybe she's also helping Wanda control some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But also gets caught up in the moment. So to Nate's point, she does start wigging out, but that's after Vision touches her like he did his friend in the last episode, basically releasing Wanda's control.
Right.
So he basically reformats her brain. And releases Wanda's control, and she just goes, "Oh, wait, you're an Avenger." And Vision goes, "What's an Avenger?"
What's an Avenger? Wild.
So Wanda basically wiped his memory. Or she just doesn't have any memory. I can't see how she does not have any memory of Vision before.
But remember,
this
Pietro said about her.
Oh, you're good at repressing trauma.
You're good at repressing trauma. So my thing is, he doesn't remember because she doesn't want to remember.
Yeah.
There's some other reason she doesn't want him to remember.
Because he's dead.
No, because he's Vision. What will he want to do if he knows he's an Avenger?
Save everyone.
It's not only save everyone, but he would not want to be living in a town with Wanda doing nothing.
Yeah.
That's not Vision. He would want to go, oh, what's going on in the world? You know, did we beat Thanos? Let's go help people. She can't have that because she needs him sitting there in town with her to keep her sanity.
Yep.
Well, to also keep the facade going, to keep this facade going that she's married. But I love how Agnes told Vision he was dead.
Yes, and chuckled the whole way.
No.
And she was laughing.
She
flipped her wig.
Laugh. Oh my god!
I just thought about something. I said that Pietro is her id for, you know, basically telling her the truth. Is Agnes her id for her craziness?
Like good demon, bad demon on both her shoulders?
Yes.
That could be a thing.
Not yet. Well, not. We started getting into the Darcy files, but we haven't fully gone into it. So that whole scene was, to Nate's point, just freaking crazy.
Wild.
Now, at the same time, Monica and Jimmy have left, and they left Darcy to keep on hacking the files because there was one more firewall she had to get through to get in Hayworth's stuff.
And they're like,
because they're going to meet Monica's guy that has this thing that'll help them bust through the hex. And then Darcy brings up Monica's medical records, basically saying you've been molecularly changed. So this is going to lead to Monica being Photon, which is what she is in the comic books. She's Photon. Right. So Monica and Jimmy leave. Which to me, here we go with the whole Scooby-Doo splitting up thing, which never works out for anybody. What's up, Banks?
We got a lot to cover. We got so much to do. But I want to finish what you're doing. I just want to remind you, I want people to think, I want to know who you guys think Monica's going to meet. Who's her friend?
I can tell you this. They have not chosen who Reed Richards is yet. So I don't think it's Reed Richards. Somebody is saying Blue Marvel, who is an obscure, at least for non-comic book fans,
Blue Marvel's
bioengineer. Right. Yeah, that'll be a far right turn. It's not Tony Stark. We know that.
Obviously.
It's a him. We know it's a guy. So who is left that's into... Oh, I just thought about something.
Oh.
The kid that helped Tony in Iron Man 3. That was at the end of Avengers Endgame at
That's
Tony's
why I
funeral.
was asking.
Could it be him?
I don't think it's Reed Richards. People keep saying Reed, and I'm like, I don't think it's Reed.
No, they haven't picked an actor for Reed yet, so I don't think it's going to be Reed.
I was just going to say, couldn't it be freaking Hulk?
I don't think they're going to pull in Banner. It could be, but I don't think they could. It could also be Pym, Henry Pym. They're still out there. The Pyms are still out there.
I'm about to say the Pyms are still out there.
There's plenty of smart dudes around.
Yeah.
It could even be freaking Peter Parker.
No.
Nah,
it's not Peter.
Nah.
He's too busy on the run after J. Jonah Jameson.
But my thing is, the reason why I don't think it's Professor Hulk is because by then it's still, of course, Professor Hulk. I don't think it's Professor Hulk, but I don't know. I got the kid that helped Tony Stark is the one I've been thinking about.
Yeah, because we don't know what they left him with. We know Stark probably left him with something. Excuse me. And we don't know for sure if Tony left him, I'm sure Tony bequeathed something to him, and Tony was around him for the 5 years leading up to everybody coming back before Tony snapped and destroyed Thanos. So it's possible that him and Tony got closer as Tony's daughter grew. So Tony could have been helping him with a lot of stuff because the kid was smart as a whip. And I don't think he got blipped. He could have gotten blipped, but we don't know because we don't see him until the funeral.
But it could be the Pyms too now.
Yes, it could be the Pyms. It's certainly not. I don't think it's Peter. Peter's smart, but I don't think he's smart enough to be an astrophysicist yet because he's still a teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, he couldn't even control the glasses that he was given. So,
Parker.
But anyway,
yeah, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. It's probably not Peter. I just can't wait to see what it is. At first, I was waiting, and I was like, man, that's how they're going to bring in the Fantastic Four. But then I was like, really?
Because what is this guy supposed to do?
He's giving her the vehicle. If you've seen any of the previews, there's a vehicle she uses to bust through the hex, basically.
So I was also gonna say, like, could it be Doctor Strange, but also like, because he could do like something mystic with the reality thing. Also, Wild Knight said Far From Home is happening in parallel to this.
So Peter's off in Paris right now.
Paris, yeah.
Yeah. So he's not. It's not going to be Peter.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
I think it could be the kid from Iron Man 3, which is. Folks might not remember him, but there was a kid that helped Iron Man when he was, fighting the fake Manda. Oh my God. I can't think of his name. It's not I keep thinking of Mandalorian, but it's not Mandalorian. He was my favorite villain, but he's a leader of the 10 Rings. And and he ends up actually being this actor guy, and he's not really the guy, but the guy actually does exist. He's going to show up in the new movie coming out, the new Marvel movie. It'll actually show the actual person. It's Mandarin. That's what I'm thinking about, Mandarin. But he helped Tony when he lost his suit and all this other stuff, and helped him get the suit back together. He was
in the death scene and
grown up,
right? But I also think it would have been dope if it was Reed Richards. That would have been hella dope.
But according to what I'm seeing, they have not thought of who the actor is going to. They haven't cast the actors yet. And maybe they have. Maybe they have. Maybe they haven't. I don't know.
Considering how well they kept under wraps the stuff from freaking Mandalorian, I would not be surprised if they have cast.
That's true.
Just haven't announced it.
That's true. So Vision,
let's get to
while Darcy is hacking into the files and getting this last file, and Wild Knight, you're gonna have to remind me because I didn't remember the name unless Nate and Christina remembers. What is the name of the file that she finds that has all the information that she sends to Wimmy?
I couldn't
I'm pretty sure it was like Cataract or something.
Cataract. What is? I don't know. See, now my comic book stuff is being tested, and I don't know what Cataract is. And I think it was Cataract. And she sends that to Jimmy Woo, and I don't know if she sends it to anybody else other than Jimmy. I thought it was multiple people she sent it to. But while that's going on, alarms start going off because Vision is walking through the hex.
Yeah, she's like she was sanding it off, and then all of a sudden she's like, "What the hell is Vision doing?" Haha, I was right. Anyway, she's like, "What the hell is Vision doing?" And all you just see is him just casually strolling up to the border, and we're just like, sir, what are you doing? You are deceased. What are you doing?
Oh, by the way, so the names that show up in the email while she's trying to put it together, while she's typing in Jimmy Woo, is actually folks that work on the show, like people that are actually in real life a part of the show. But so she emails that to Jimmy Woo. Vision is trying to walk through the bloody wall, which we all know what's going to happen when it gets over to the other side of the wall. We just didn't know it was going to be that horrible.
Bad.
So before he gets through the wall, Wanda and Pietro are sitting at a lovely, horrible hay maze in the center of town. And to Nate's point, this is when he starts bringing up, you've done so much in town, and mom and dad would have loved it. And she's like, oh, yeah, I guess they would have. And then the kids they went to go get the big candy. And they're sitting there, and he's basically bringing up all the stuff that she's done and basically putting it on the biggest screen possible in front of her. And she's still not getting it. It's like it's just not clicking in her brain.
Cataract.
Oh, that's why it's called cataract.
What?
What's a cataract, Nate? Damaged vision.
What?
Damaged vision. It's damaged vision.
Oh.
I didn't even think about that. It didn't even cross my mind to think of that.
Literally, I was wondering why they had named it.
That's what Wild Knight said. It's damaged vision.
Wow. Well, we all know that he wants Vision back because he wants.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, and he's just said one of the symptoms of cataracts is double vision.
Oh. Maybe he was hooked up to all that stuff so they could try to recreate Vision.
But I thought that went against his living will, and he wouldn't want that. And honestly, the only person I think could bring Vision back is Shiri. She's the only one with the brains to do it. And the technology. Without the Mind Stone.
Did he freeze?
And if you guys didn't know, Vision did get destroyed at one time in the comic books, and he came back as basically albino. He was all white, and it was just, what the heck is that?
What are those?
But back to what we were saying, and that's great. Wild Knight is deep, man. I love that brother. My point is that, but then Pietro is asking her, he was like, but he asked her, how did you do all this? And then she's looking like, I don't know. Like he's literally trying to smack upside the head to say, you're controlling all these people. You put all of this together. How did you do that?
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Mm-hmm. Right. And then
is there something in here?
Right. But did you notice one thing? While she is literally trying to put together her brain, she loses control over Pietro and she sees him dead.
Yep. Yeah. She loses her vision of Pietro.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that the albino version of Vision was evil.
Interesting.
So Sword is designing an alternate version of Vision, which I don't know if you guys know this, but the Black Widow movie is going to be the kickoff for something called the Thunderbolts. And if you don't know what the Thunderbolts are, they are basically the villains,
the bad guys,
the villain Avengers, but they're good guys. They're villains playing heroes. And they were actually led by Green Goblin, who was Iron Patriot at the time, because they got the Iron Patriot armor. But they were government-sanctioned superheroes, but they were actually villains that were working for the government and supposedly helping the world, but they were actually some of them were actually doing still some foul shit. Excuse my French. They were still doing some stuff they shouldn't have been doing. So she sees Pietro with the bullet wounds, that was kind of freaky. It wasn't as freaky as Dead Vision, but it was kind of freaky.
I mean, his face was terrifying.
Yes.
His
at this point, Vision is something else, Nate. While she's arguing with Pietro, she's lost where Vision is. She doesn't realize what's going on. She doesn't know Vision's at the edge of the hex. You would think she would know when people are hitting that hex wall.
Yeah, that was a little suspect.
Well, it could be because she's arguing with part of her mind.
Yeah.
So he gets through and he just starts tearing apart.
Literally falling to pieces.
Like everything is just pulling back into the thing. And Hayworth and his people come running up. And then Darcy, in the most Darcyest thing, comes running out the tent. Why won't you help him? I'm like, Darcy, you're not even supposed to be there, stupid. So what do? They handcuff her to a car.
Handcuff her to a whole car.
Which makes no sense again.
No sense.
No sense. So Hayworth and his men are sitting there watching this guy get torn apart, who in his last breaths, which is basically his last breaths, begging them to help the town. And they're just standing there like the whole scene. And I'm like, you guys are the stupidest police organization I've ever seen before in my life. How did you get this job?
But then my man Billy discovers his powers.
Which is basically Wanda's powers.
Basically.
Right.
But my thing is he finally discovers his powers and he says he sees his dad getting torn apart. Now we know both kids got their powers. But okay, but this takes me. I get it, but I don't get it. But I need some input. So then Pietro goes up to Wanda and says, "Well, it's not like your husband can't die twice."
It's not like he said it's not like your dead husband can die twice.
Yeah.
Right.
And she hexed him into the wall.
She was like, shut the fuck up. But my point I'm saying though is, does that lead okay, that causes more questions. One, that takes me back to what you said, Cliff, about this is her id or her conscience trying to tell her this is doing wrong. I'm thinking conscience. So is that why he mouthed off?
Yes.
Or did he mouth off because she sees him as a man child and a man child would never hold his tongue? Or does he mouth off because Pietro is really somebody else pretending to be Pietro? I thought.
Well, to this point, we begin to understand that, or at least it seems that Wanda pulled Pietro or created him, constructed him. Is he somebody else's body designed to look like Pietro? Because he looks like Pietro, but he doesn't, to his point. And this is the thing that Monica even brought up earlier. When Monica walked in, she's like, who was that on the screen when she was watching the show? And they go, oh, that's Pietro. And she's like, huh? And Jimmy's like, yeah, he's been recast.
And I'm more leaning towards that he's someone I don't know, because the way he was asking the questions to me, it seemed like he was trying to figure it out to make her continue or to do it himself or in a way to use it against her. Because he's like, wow, how'd you do it? And it's just that's weird. That's suspicious.
See, I don't know.
So he's not dead. He didn't get hit as bad as Monica, and Monica survived. So I think he just got knocked back. And for sure got knocked back, but I don't think he's dead.
Oh no, he's.
I remember, but I'm saying, but I'm stepping off what Christina said. Remember when he asked her about how she did it? He says, "You can always talk to me. I'm your brother. I'm not your husband."
I'm not your husband.
I was
watch
like,
your anime.
Because she can't talk to her husband about everything because he would go, he already proved at the end of 5, you need to stop doing this. You need to let these people go.
and so my point being that I agree with Christina. I don't know if it's just him trying to prove he's a brother or was that suspicious
Yeah.
Mhm.
and he's somebody else pretending to be her brother.
So Wanda, after with the help of Billy Wiccan, he says, "Look, Dad's over here." He concentrates, which is weird because shouldn't she have been able to find him since she's a much more stronger telepath? But she couldn't, so Billy did, and she expands the wall, the hex,
Bruh.
and everybody starts leaving, including Hayworth's punk ass leaves. And
Like,
who is
she's
still
like-
handcuffed to the car?
Poor Darcy.
Poor freaking Darcy. She's
So
like,
anybody that's caught in that thing gets transformed. So there were some people that was in a helicopter, and the helicopter turned into a hot air balloon.
hot air balloon. People turn into clowns.
People
I'm about
turned
to
into
say,
clowns.
Wait, but that was important. Everybody that was bad or part of his crew turned into a clown.
Yes.
Mhm.
So what's gonna happen to Darcy then? Because Darcy wasn't necessarily bad. How's she gonna show up on the show? Is she gonna be in her Two Broke Girls character, which would be a nod to the early 2010s?
That'd be so funny.
That would be dope.
That'd be so funny.
I mean, because I'm imagining the next show is going to be closer to not Malcolm in the Middle. What was the next one? Modern Family.
Mhm.
So, and then we'll probably get the big reveal in episode 8 and 9 where they're battling. But there's also a preview where she says we're going to fight for this town, and she was talking to Vision, and Vision's like, "Yes, we are, because this is our home." So, obviously, there's going to be some big bad that they're going to run across. I don't know if it's Hayworth. He's obviously got away because he's the slimy sword guy that somehow, I don't know how he outran it.
Driver, and like someone else is in the back. And then
Got away.
Monica and Wu are
They were gone already.
Yeah.
They were like out, probably about 20, 30 minutes ahead of all of them.
Yeah, but they still jumped it. They still
Yeah.
jumped it.
He was like, let's go. Let's go a little faster now. Faster, please.
That was a nod to Jurassic Park. If anybody didn't know, when Jeff Goldblum was in the back of the Jeep and he's like, "Must go faster." Did you guys notice what happened to the car lot? It got changed into an early all the cars got changed to early, like the model years from when the show was taking place. Everything got changed. Anything that got hit in that hex. So again, explain to me, Mr. Hey, how you're going to stop her if she can do this. And this was all on on Wanda. You saw her eyes. They started going red, and she did this.
She was like, Vision's in trouble. Let me just bring him back in the hex while also getting rid of all of these other people.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just do that. Because I'm tired of y'all. Y'all are
So now Sword doesn't have a place. They don't have a base of operations. Yes.
But remember one very important thing. Wanda is having a hard time keeping control. That was before the hex just doubled, and now she's got more people to control.
And I think she started losing control in the last episode when she turned everything red. When she did whatever she did to the hex, I think she started expanding her powers, stretching them even more than what she thought she could control. You know, holding a town of 3,000 is easy, but now you're adding in another 300 people.
Yeah.
Every person she brings in, she loses that much control. She just brought in all the sword people, all the trucks, all the cars, everything she's got, doubled the size of the hex. She has got to try to keep all that under control. She's got the people already sitting out there dormant, waiting to use as props, snatching them out of bed. How's she going to keep even more control? So I said, double size hex and more people. And she was already cracking.
So if next week's episode is Modern Family, does this mean the kids are going to disappear other than her two again? And is she going to rewrite Vision's memory?
Again.
Well, no, his memory has not been wiped from the first 5 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
So is she gonna wipe what happened
His
in the last
memory
5 episodes of him waking up and just make him the lovey-dovey husband or the neurotic husband that is in Modern Family? And that's the other person Darcy could play. She could play who was the lady that married the father in Modern Family. I can't think of her name.
Hispanic lady?
Yeah, the Hispanic lady. So is her father going to show up, or somebody's father going to show up in the next episode, and Darcy's going to be married to him as a sassy, mother-in-law, or is she going to be the two broke girls? One of the two broke girls.
Be a love interest for Pietro.
Yes, that's true too. The other question is Pietro going to be in a house next door then, like the brother is on Modern Family? Because he's not a Lothar, he's a working guy, just like the sister is. And there was in the preview, Wanda was sitting on a couch saying everything's fine. So she is losing it. And the further she does this stuff with the Hex, the more she loses control of not only the Hex, but her own psyche, I think. Yeah. She's splittering too much. She's pouring too much of herself and trying to control too much. And yes, she does have godlike powers, as seen when she was fighting Thanos, but that's easy to concentrate on just Thanos, and she couldn't stop them from doing the Rain of Fire. But you're talking about 3,000 to 4,000 people now she's controlling, or trying to. And she couldn't already control 20% of the population, which is the kids. So the question is, how was she controlling the kids to begin with, Nate? Was they walking around looking at their parents catatonic, or were they asleep with their parents until she needed them for the Halloween episode, like Pietro said?
That's wild.
I think they were asleep, knocked out. She got them out of bed. She released the parents that were connected to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes
like, "Oh, Vision noticed you guys aren't here. Well, got to bring you back now."
So is Vision going to even remember that he went outside the wall?
I don't know.
I think he's going to start off remembering. I think she's going to wipe his brain. But you're right. Either way, I think he's going to.
Also, he's going to remember that Agnes told him that he's dead.
Mm-hmm. So she's going to not want him to know that, because that will put a big Kemp. Yeah, that'll destroy the illusion. So Nate, where do you think we're heading? Do you think there's another big bad, or do you think this is all on Wanda?
No, there's another big bad somewhere. There's another big bad. Shut your mouth. And I can't wait to see who this is. And I can't wait to see Rambeau go in there, turn into Photon, and she's going to end up using her powers. That's how she's going to know she has powers, trying to fight the big bad when Wanda feels or finds out she's been duped as well. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be dopey dope.
Mm-hmm. Could this, since Vision is decaying, he's decaying vibranium, and could his state, we don't know what kind of radiation vibranium takes up when it's no longer animated and he's decaying, could that radiation be affecting her powers?
Ooh. And not only is it affecting her powers, if it does do radiation, is it also affecting the people in the town?
Yes. So this could be the birth of the mutant. This could be the birth of the mutants in Marvel as well, because everybody that's in there got their DNA rewritten.
Yeah.
Everybody that's in that town got their DNA rewritten. So it's possible that when all this is said and done, there's going to be 3,000 mutants in the world.
Also, not as much as Monica, obviously, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, Monica's going to bust through there twice. So that means
three times.
Why is it 3? Oh, because she got thrown out.
She came back, and then she's going to go back through.
Right. So, yeah. So she's going to have, I don't know if she's going to be Captain Marvel level powers, because Captain Marvel got her powers from the Tesseract or the Space Stone, and she's getting her powers from whatever is in the Hex gave her powers. It's going to end up giving her powers.
The radiation going through the Hex.
Yes, which again, I'm wondering if some of that also has to do with Vision. She's sitting there holding on to a husk that is basically vibranium, and we don't know anything of what happens after it decays because it's basically, as to Darcy's point, it's decaying vibranium. So it must be giving off some kind of radiation, I think. And it could be affecting everybody in town. And her even worse. Christina, what are your thoughts? Where do you think we're headed? Christina?
Say, sorry, I was looking at Wild Knight's comment.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
What is Wild Knight's comment?
He said, "You're assuming Monica didn't have powers beforehand. Remember what she said." And I'm trying to remember what she did.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what she said either.
But anyway, go ahead.
I don't know. I still think there's a bigger bad. But I don't know.
Do you think they're going to bring in Mephisto? I mean, that is a big thing to drop on the Marvel MCU. Yeah. I mean, he's basically a demon, one of the lords of hell, one of the levels of hell.
I don't know if they would drop that. Although knowing Marvel and how they love to drop cliffhangers at the ends of things, I wouldn't be surprised if they drop that as like the next like Thanos level big bad.
True. Although supposedly the next Thanos level big bad is going to show up in the Thor
Love of Thunder.
Yeah, Gods and Thunder, which is the God Killer, which is played by Christian Bale. He's supposed to be the next level big bad, supposedly, but that's all rumor based. I think the next big bad is actually going to be the Thunderbolts and the Avengers dealing with the fallout from their actions and what the government ends up doing by creating the Thunderbolts. And eventually it's going to be a big super villain superhero fight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what Wild Knight's saying. The first comment when she got out was she knows what's going on with her cells. So is it possible she did know about her powers? And it just never, but I don't see how Sword wouldn't know that she had that though, Wild Knight, because I'm pretty sure she had to have had x-rays and stuff to join this organization, had all this blood work and all this stuff. So, and then Darcy, to Darcy's point, she said the Hex had rewritten herself. So something happened. No, she's never concerned about her test results. You are right. But it could be, I still think she's partially affected by the Hex as well, that whatever Wanda did to her, kind of, sort of, because I thought she was a double agent when she first got thrown out, because just from the way she was acting in the last episode, like she was not concerned about her powers, and she was, or not her powers, but she wasn't concerned about her blood work or any of that, and she seemed more concerned about helping Wanda. Did anything else?
Well, she said she knew how Wanda felt.
Right, because she came back and her mom was dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to her effect, Wanda watched Vision die not once, but twice in front of her eyes. Once in her hands and then another at this man came in and basically said, "Hold on. Let me do this. I'm going to need this right here." Wow. So, Christina, what do you think there's a big bad coming?
Yeah, I think there's another big bad. I wouldn't be surprised if it's another Thanos level big bad that they just drop at the end, and they defeat him, and then he retreats, or they retreat, whoever they are. I'm very interested to see who the hell they're gonna go meet. I feel like that's gonna be another big thing that no one is gonna be expecting. That's gonna be exciting. I wonder if they'll actually get to it next episode. Losers all the time.
No, they are. They I think they are, and then at the end of the episode is going to be Monica punching through the Hex.
Yeah.
Question is Hayworth going to try to stop her from getting through?
Yeah, that's the other thing I'm wondering is how Hayward is going to recoup from this, Because no way is
I think at the end of this, he's not going to have as much power as he has. He's going to have to basically retire, or he's going to be retired. Either Thunderbolt's going to step in and go, dude, you messed up too much. Or with Fury, if Far and Away is going on right now, Fury's going to see what's going on and go, nope, you don't have a job anymore, dude. You're done. You're done.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think Hayward's gonna come back bigger and badder.
Maybe not. He's basically acting like Ross right now, which Thunderbolt hates. He hates everything. Anything super he hates. Even though he's one of the reasons that Banner is the way Banner is and the Hulk was created. He never in all the comic books owned up to any of that. He even irradiated himself to become the Red Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
To basically beat down the Hulk. Although Hulk eventually beat him, but it took a long time before anybody figured out who Red Hulk was. So they never admit when they're wrong. Just like Tony, even in the end, which pissed me off about Endgame, was Tony was sitting there getting mad at Steve, saying, oh, you weren't there for me. Although Steve was fighting the battle with Vision. You weren't there for me. And see, I tried to create a shield to protect the world. You almost destroyed the planet, dummy. How did you still don't see what you did was wrong?
Like, you literally created something that decided that getting rid of humanity was the best way to save the Earth. Like,
your
decision making is not always key.
Mm-hmm. And I understand that they were lost in space for all that time, and he might have went a little wacky, which to me is funny considering that Nebula should have been able to get them to a world that had food for Tony. That never made sense to me. And was the ship out of fuel or something? She couldn't get them back to Earth? How are you lost in space?
Disabled.
Also, you're Tony Stark.
You couldn't find a way to power the ship?
You couldn't figure out a way to power the ship? Like, did you forget who you are?
Disabled, fuelless ship.
So, at the end of Infinity War, Tony and Nebula were stuck on that world, and they got off, evidently, and the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. So, it had enough power to take off. But there was a ship they came there in with to surprise Thanos in that ship. What happened to that ship? Because I'm pretty sure there was parts in there they could have used inside of the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. And Tony's smart. To Christina's effect, Tony's smart. You couldn't figure out how to repair this?
I mean,
made no sense.
Made sense to me. I was like, wait a minute, that's alien stuff. He may not have understood. I don't know.
He's Tony freaking Stark. He knew who Thanos was, but couldn't. Come on. And they never went into how he knew who Thanos was. All they said was, yeah, I've done my research. How do you research somebody or something that we didn't even know existed? They crashed the cock ring. That's what Wild Knight was called. I know they crashed it Wild Knight, but the ship still had technology on it he could have probably used to repair that ship. And they didn't use the, I can't remember what Star-Lord's ship was called, but they didn't use that in the fight. At any point in time, it was landed somewhere on the world that they were fighting Thanos on. So, I don't know. I'm probably wrong, and I'm probably off, and I'm nitpicking, but it's things like that kind of, that's what's always pissed me off about Star Wars when you think back and you go, why didn't y'all just do that? Why didn't you? You're stupid.
Idiot.
So, and yes, to Wild Knight's effect, the battle did destroy the planet. So it's more than likely that the ships were damaged.
Right.
The cock-ring ship was already destroyed, and Tony was already just saw the kid get disintegrated in his eyes and blah blah blah. And I still blame
Mr.
Star-Lord for some of that. There's only one chance. Only one. Only 1 out of 14 million.
And what did he do? Fuck him. God.
Well, that was the only way they could do it. But again, Tony is just like, in a way, he's just like, although he's a superhero, he's just like Thunderbolt Ross and Hayworth. They'll do anything to protect the planet, even if it ends up destroying the planet. And then they're just like, well, I was just trying to save the world. I don't know what happened. Blah, 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 blah. And that's probably what's going to happen with the Thunderbolts. What's that?
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent point, niece. Excellent point.
So with that, I think we're going to end our thing on WandaVision, but now we're going to get into something which Nate brought up last couple episodes, which is people in their mouths and getting kicked off of projects. If you did not know, Gina Carlo, who played Cara Dune on Mandalorian,
Gina Carano,
she got kicked off the show. The reason she got kicked off the show,
Lucasfilm.
She got kicked off the show because she said she compared the treatment of the Republicans on social media and on in the media period to the Jews in the Holocaust.
Are you freaking crazy?
And it's not even Jews. To her effect, it wasn't Jews in the Holocaust. It was how the Jews were treated before the Holocaust, like how the Nazis rounded them up and all this stuff. And here's the thing, and people are going to say, well, they shouldn't have kicked her off the show for her words. Just freedom of speech. One, private company. Freedom of speech does not only go so far.
Freedom of speech does not resolve you from freedom of consequences.
Exactly.
That's the one thing that people love to forget about the First Amendment.
Two, in her contract, she has a moral clause. All of the actors too.
That's why you don't she's see literally representing Disney.
Right. That's Disney why you don't
play about people saying the wrong thing.
And that's why you don't see Star-Lord, who most people don't know is a conservative, saying wild shit on Twitter.
Because he likes his money.
Because he likes his job. And three, she was given ample warnings before she was fired. And she literally apologized and then went and posted something else the same day. And now she's a victim and it's cancel culture. No. If Nate messes up as his job, the first thing, or I mess up in my job, or Christina messes up at her job, the first thing we get is a verbal warning.
Then you get
the second thing we get is a 30-day or a reprimand, written warning. The next thing is 90-day probation. And if you survive the 90-day probation or you don't survive the 90-day probation, you get fired. That's how any job works. And that's what happened to her.
Yeah. Like, this is not the first thing that she said. Everyone is treating this like this is the first and only thing that she said. No. She's been talking shit for months.
Yep.
And Lucasfilm was finally just like, you're done. You've used all your chances.
Mm-hmm. So Nate obviously wants to say something. So go ahead.
She got a job.
On the direct-to-video with Daily Mail or what? Who is she?
Like what?
Who is Ben Shapiro? I don't even know who that is.
Ben Shapiro, who runs like basically a freaking gossip rag.
Mm-hmm. The National Enquirer, basically.
Yeah.
Or Republicans.
And she's just like, my voice will never be silenced, and I'm like, oh, please shut up, please.
No, your voice will be silenced because you're going direct to video, and all the money you were going to gain because you were getting your own spinoff is gone now. It's gone. You can't sit there and tell me that Ben Shapiro is going to pay you like Disney.
Even though Disney pays kind of shitty, but that's beside the point. Anyway.
But here's the possibilities that she had. Not only could she get a spinoff, although she can't act that well. Not only could she
another season of Mandalorian, which is also
another season of Mandalorian. She would have had her spinoff, but it's possible that if they did bring in more films after the trilogy, after the current sequels, she could have been in them in some form or fashion. We don't know.
And now we'll never know.
Now we'll never know.
Sucks for her.
And they could have did, yes, Nate.
If you get a 1% or even a 0.5% contract on the merchandising, you're set for the rest of your life.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she didn't stay in the movies, they just pulled her action figure from Hasbro.
That's merchandising. That's all. That's where you make your money. Even if you don't get Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. level money, if you get something on the back end, you're probably set for life.
Yeah, especially with Disney.
Yeah,
because they'll milk the hell out of it.
As we see with Star Wars, how many things we got coming out now? Now who's going to take over for her? What is Don Cheadle going to step in? Oh, I heard Cara Dune's gone. Let me step in. Like he did
with Terrence Howard.
Yes.
I'm excited to see who they recast because she's gonna get recast. It's gonna happen.
I don't know if she's gonna get recast or they're just gonna have she got killed off screen and here's this other lady that's not from Alderaan. Maybe she's from one of the core systems that the First Order destroyed or something like that, or another thing that to do with Alderaan or some other world. Yes, sir.
It hurt my feelings because I liked her. I liked her character. I thought she was very sexy. I'm sorry, that was sexy.
Mm-hmm.
And I on the other hand wasn't as direct about it. I kind of just said to myself, it was the same thing that happened with the guy that's playing. I forget what it was. The half machine, half guy.
You mean Ray Fisher?
Ray Fisher was the same thing.
No.
Wait. Just let me finish.
Uh-huh.
What I was saying is that whether you're saying the good thing or bad thing, whether you're taking up, saying the right thing or the wrong thing,
mm-hmm.
The bottom line is, even with Iron Man, when you had Terrence Howard that was hooping and hollering saying, "You can't make this show without me," and then all of a sudden Don Cheadle was there.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be bigger than the show. You will not be bigger than the movie.
You'll never be bigger than the franchise.
Never.
You'll never be bigger than the company.
And so my thing
and that's what Vince McMahon be drilling into his people. You think you're bigger than the company, although Dwayne Johnson proved him wrong, but you're not.
He's one in a million. Even Hulk Hogan didn't get the Dwayne Johnson level.
Nope. And Steve Austin he broke away, but he's still not Dwayne Johnson or Batista level. He did an action movie career, but it didn't really take off like Dwayne and Batista.
And the only reason why Batista's did is because he just so happened to be big enough and crazy looking enough to land that role. If he wouldn't have landed that role,
no, he wouldn't have done that well.
He wouldn't have been anywhere.
Although I did like him in Man with the Iron Fist, but again, that was almost a direct-to-video thing.
But the bottom line is that you cannot be bigger. I'm not saying Ray Fisher was wrong. I'm not getting into the wrong versus right. I'm getting into just listen. I know that you felt mistreated. I get it. But dude, shut up and do something else to help your community. There's other ways you can help the African Americans that are trying to get into acting rather than running your mouth and getting kicked off the show.
Well, here's the issue.
I don't agree with that at all because
here's the issue.
Coming out has caused waves of people to come out against that man.
Exactly. So here's the thing with Ray Fisher. I thought he was mouthing off. I did not realize that Wheaton and Hamada actually were serial abusers until
he's a horrible person. And
until Charisma Carpenter came out.
Until
so that makes you sit back and look at what Ray Fisher did and say, oh, there was a problem on the set. Yeah. It's just Josh Whedon was able to hide it
as he has done for 20 plus years.
Right. So Ray Fisher was more Colin Kaepernick than what happened to Gina. Gina was just stupid.
But my problem is now he's still gone.
Yes, he's still. Well, he's going to be back in the revised Justice League, the one that's coming out.
But my thing is, regardless of whether or not if he's gone, would you rather go out pointing out that something is fucked up than keep your mouth shut and then have it come out later that it was fucked up and you could have said something and you didn't?
My problem with that is that nothing's changing. He's still the director going forward.
Yeah, for now, but now also people know.
So he accused.
I get getting blacklisted in Hollywood is difficult, especially for someone at the level of Joss Whedon. But like the amount of people who will not want to work with him now is repercussions. At least,
well, it's the same way with. Here's my thing. It's come out how Amanda Heard is, or Amber Heard is, and Warner Brothers still employs her. Poor Johnny Depp doesn't have a career anymore because they kept thinking he was like not James Spade. Who was the other guy? Oh my God, I can see the guy, Kevin Spacey. They kept thinking he was like some serial abuser, and it comes out that she was. Yet somehow Warner Brothers allows her to keep her job.
Also, all of Hollywood.
Ray Fisher gets kicked off the set because he keeps saying that Joss Whedon and Hamada are horrible for business and that they treat their actors wrong. Now, Gina was putting up racist and anti-Semite, all kinds of stuff. Ray Fisher just came out and said, there's a problem with these people that I work with. That's all he said. And he got ostracized for it. Like, oh, you should shut up. And now that Charisma Carpenter and one other person coming up from Buffy saying, yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
Or that those people are like that. Now all of a sudden it's, okay, yeah. So now they want to explore it. Before, when the black guy came out and said something, they didn't want to explore it.
Yeah.
Now they do.
But now they're like, oh, maybe I guess it needs an investigation. Mm-hmm. So irritating.
And I like Joss Whedon because, he created Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He created Buffy. He created Angel. He gave us the first Avengers. And thankfully, and by the way, Ray Fisher wasn't the only one. Charisma Carpenter, which is from
she's from Buffy.
Jason Momoa. Momoa and Gal Gadot came up against Whedon as well with his behavior on set.
Yeah.
So. And
then Sarah Michelle Gellar released a statement. It was more in support and not directly anything against Whedon. Although I feel like the further this goes on, she might say something.
Mm-hmm. And then Michelle Trachtenberg, who was from Buffy. Yeah. She was a sister in Buffy's sister that came out of nowhere. We're not even going to go there. She had a problem with it. And then Amber Benson, who was also from Buffy. So that's 3 actresses from Buffy.
Was Amber Benson Faith?
Amber Benson was in Buffy. Tara. She was Tara.
Oh, that makes me so sad. She's so sweet. She's like the sweetest character. Mm-hmm. I really like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, y'all. I'm sure.
I see that.
Look. Yes. I have the entire series.
And of course, she Michelle Trachtenberg played Dawn Summers, who was Buffy's sister.
She's
right. So I mean,
and then
obviously there are problems in
this is happening.
Right. There's obviously problems.
These, like older white males who seen because Dan Schneider with Nickelodeon.
Oh, I didn't see that one. What happened with Dan Schneider?
He's the reason that Sam and Cat got canceled. He is apparently very toxic because he was treating Jeanette McCurdy like horribly.
Oh, is that the guy that everybody loved on Sam and Cat?
No, he's the director. He created Victoria, Sam and Cat, but apparently he's a horrible person.
Okay. I was thinking it was the brother on iCarly.
Oh, no.
That's what. Oh, okay.
That's else.
I was about to say, please don't let it be Spencer.
No, not Spencer.
Okay. But there are so many. I mean, you get to Harvey Weinstein, and you get to all these other people and you have to deal with this, Christina, because you live in LA and you work in the entertainment industry. There are so many people that are getting away with so much stuff, and if you voice your opinion, to Nate's effect, if you voice your opinion, you end up getting blacklisted as somebody that can't work with. And the studios are able to put up basically saying this person is just hard to work with. We don't need to work with them. And it's got nothing to do with what these people are doing, being serial abusers. They're not even seriously looking at these cases unless it starts hitting social media and unless it starts hitting their bottom line.
And it just really makes me sad because it's making me look at, and Warner Brothers has made so many, like as a company, has made so much amazing content and is integrated into our society so much with how much they make, and it just makes me sad that they're basically putting their like the people that make them money, they're putting them at risk and acting like they don't care because it makes them money.
I'm about to say because it doesn't affect their bottom line. The bottom line is, I'm sorry, poor Johnny Depp. That broke my spirit. I said Johnny Depp is now blacklisted because his woman went out there and said he was a serial abuser when she was in fact the abuser, and she's not losing her job.
And he's also admitted that he wasn't 100% innocent, but he was definitely not as bad as her.
Mm-hmm.
And he also admitted it, as compared to some of these other people who will just keep going and just hide it. And now he can't even get in a short film, and he's an amazing actor. Amber, I didn't even know what the hell she was in before this. I didn't even know who she was.
The one thing she was in that I knew about was Drive Angry, and I didn't even realize that was her. Opposite Nicolas Cage, which could have been, and Nate, you can admit this, that could have been a direct-to-video movie. Did that really need a theatrical release?
No.
And she was also, was she in one of the Sin Cities? I don't know. Maybe she might have been. But and then her biggest thing is right now is Aquaman, which she will have an even bigger part in the new not the new Justice League, but the Snyder Justice League. She'll have a bigger part because Jason Momoa isn't doing parts, so she'll have a bigger role in it than she had in the original. Right?
Aquaman?
Huh?
Did he leave Aquaman?
No. So what it is they're bringing out Zack Snyder's Justice League, because if you didn't know, there was a horrible accident when Snyder was directing Justice League, so he dropped off, and Josh Whedon, that's how the whole Ray Fisher Josh Whedon thing came in, because Josh Whedon stepped in to finish the film and he cut a lot of stuff out. So now Warner Brothers has given, I don't know how much money, buku dollars to Zack Snyder to basically bring out his vision of Justice League. I guess as a hope that they restart their universe, which I don't see how that's going to happen, because whatever. The only good thing coming out of Zack Snyder's Justice League, other than more time with Mr. Affleck as Batman, is the Superman black suit. He's going to have his black suit in it. Oh, I'm sorry. Amber Heard was in Machete Kills. She's been in Zombieland. She was one of the people that got killed.
I like Zombieland.
She was 406, which I think is, I don't know what area code that is, but she was one of the people that got killed. Literally.
Trash human.
The first thing she was in was Friday Night Lights. So, and the last thing she's in the new Stand. I haven't seen the new Stand yet. I don't even know if I want to watch it. But that being said, to Nate's point, you have to watch what you say as an actor. As an employee. We all know this as employees, and I don't know why actors think they're of a certain level where the stuff they say will not affect them. That's why nobody wants to work with James Woods, because of the stuff he said, against a bunch of people. And to people's effect, they're throwing out stuff that this one guy that worked for Disney said about manga people, about chopping them into a wood chipper. The difference between what that guy put up and what Gina said was he only worked on one film and hasn't worked for Disney since 2017. He apologized and said he never should have put it up. Has Gina ever put up any kind of apology other than blaming Disney?
She hasn't even said anything since forever.
Nope.
She's not apologized whatsoever. And I think the first thing she said after it happened was done. And then she announced that she was working with Ben Shapiro and that she wouldn't be silenced.
You're still going to be silenced. Who's going to see that other than manga supporters? I'm not going to go see it for any particular reason. I don't care for whatever film they're creating. It's not a Star Wars film. It's not a Marvel film. It's not a Disney film. I don't care. What do I care? Are you gonna watch it, Nate? Is there anything you want to see that Ben Shapiro's gonna create?
Disney, Ben Shapiro.
Mm-hmm.
End of story. Why would I care? I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell you something. As a brother who has grinded in the acting business, I grinded for 15 years in Chicago, and then after leaving Chicago, coming out here and just being a stage place. And as a cat that I had said to so many directors, including, casting directors that I met in California when I went out to audition for stuff, I kept saying, all I need is a chance, an opportunity to show what I could do. And I said, put me against Denzel, and you about to have a show, because I'm going to challenge the brother. The man is incredible, and damn it, I'm going to show him I can hang. I'm not going to out Denzel, but I'm going to show him I can hang. And there's hundreds, thousands of actors and actresses like myself that are good, but never have been given an opportunity. And I see it different, and maybe I'm not as angry. Maybe I am angry about the stuff she said, but my thought is this: you got the opportunity to be in the biggest streamed television show, knocking everything off of his perch. You're gonna get your own show. You're going to have merchandising, which is going to make sure you and your children and your children's children will be able to eat. If I was blessed with that opportunity, even if I felt whatever, I am never going to do anything to jeopardize that opportunity, especially if I'm not being abused by the show. I agree with Ray Fisher. He was abused. I'm not saying that's wrong or right. I agree with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, no one was abusing her on the show.
No. She created her own abuse, like a lot of these people are doing, and then blaming cancel culture when you created the issue.
And it's
this isn't cancel culture.
Cancel culture is like such a phrase because the people that are being quote unquote canceled have done some bad shit.
Not only that,
there's maybe 5% of the people that are involved in cancel culture who actually haven't done anything.
Now, Christina, you're probably too young to remember this, but Nate, I can remember the first cancel culture. And you know what that was? The Dixie Chicks.
I remember.
And Freedom Fries. So, Christina, if you didn't know, there was a time when they wanted to rename French fries Freedom Fries in early 2000 after 9/11 because they had a problem with what the French said. There was some Republican folks that wanted to rename French fries Freedom Fries. And then there was a bunch of Republicans that basically banded together to cancel the Dixie Chicks because they felt they were unpatriotic. And they did. Now the Dixie Chicks just call themselves the Chicks. And they were attacked. Or I don't know if they were attacked, but they were blacklisted for a long time. For a long time. I think they still tour now, but for early 2000s, and I used to laugh at it. But these are the same people now complaining about cancel culture when you started the trend
with freaking Britney Spears. Mm-hmm. How they pushed us at her being this crazy person, and now it's come out that her father basically abuses her and holds her money and all that stuff over her head, and she has no access to it.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny that the dad got it instead of some lawyer or something. He got total control of her money. Because she had that mental breakdown after he helped. So her abuser caused her to have a mental breakdown and then gets control. How many times have we seen that, Nate, in life? Where the abuser gets total control of the victim's life.
Well, but not anymore. She had her first step.
Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have access anymore. It's freaking beautiful. I love it.
Mm-hmm. And so what does that mean for her kids? I mean,
I don't even.
He had total control.
What I remember, he wasn't allowing her to see her kids. It was something like that.
Federline wasn't, or he wasn't.
He wasn't allowing her to see her kids. It was something like that. It was like something crazy how much control he had over her and what she was doing. But it's stuff like that where there's like this mass exodus against people who try to speak up for themselves.
Again, mine is a little different. Like I said, I didn't, yes, some people believe she was canceled. Other people believe, yes, she created her own misery, her own problems. She violated the rules of her own contract. My bigger issue is, and this is what just bothers me, and this is why it really took like the wind out of my sails, is I said, I'm not, maybe it's the maturity in me, I don't know. Like I was telling Cliff, I said, if I was ever given the opportunity to audition for a Marvel film or given me the opportunity to audition for one of these TV shows, and I was going to be one of the main characters, and now I could stop doing what I'm doing, and now I'm going to be on a TV show that's going to pay me hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not talking about millions. I ain't no Will Smith or nothing, but hundreds of thousands of dollars, plus marketing, plus my name out there. And now I'm part of Marvel, which you could probably, like, you look at, Captain America's coming back because
he might be. I'm trying to understand how they're gonna do that, but yeah,
But he didn't want to come back because he wanted to try his hand out there and do something else, and out there something else ain't nothing out there. So now he's like, can I come back?
To his effect, he did do good in.
I understand he did good in that movie,
but that was a one-off. With the Daniel Craig, Christopher Plummer, whodunit movie.
And but that was great, but it ain't out there. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You got the opportunity.
He's still sitting on a lot of money, though, if you think about it. He's still going to be making residuals until his grandchildren are
That's my point. Mm-hmm. My point is that if you're given the opportunity, why chance it?
She could have I understand you want to be vocal, and you seem to keep thinking that Twitter is this free platform that you can voice whatever you want, which it is not. It's a private entity.
Literally, the president got banned from Twitter. You think you got more power than the president that you could just say whatever you want on Twitter and not face consequences? You're insane.
How long ago did Farrakhan get banned from Twitter? And everybody was cheering it, but then they got a problem when the president does? The former president does?
Like, I don't get it. I don't get what people's thought processes are.
Freedom, and I should be able to say anything I want because the First Amendment, although I didn't really read the First Amendment, I don't understand that you can't go run into
I believe in the
a building and say fire.
But did you really read the Constitution? Do you really understand what it says?
That is a big thing about the teachings, social teachings, and how far we've gone. Me and Nate and Wild Knight, we went to Whitney Young. You was all into social studies there. They drilled it into you more than I wanted to know. Even in grammar school, there was a lot of stuff they drilled into me about the Constitution. I don't think Angel and maybe your generation got it, but I don't think Angel's generation is getting. Well, she is down here.
The Constitution test in 8th grade in order to pass 8th grade.
But Angel's getting it down here, but I don't think she's getting it in Illinois. And I don't know if Elijah's getting it in New Mexico as far as the Constitution and social studies goes. It's to the effect where me and Nate got, or even you. I don't know if they take a Constitution test in 8th grade anymore here, or period. But we digress. So that was the big thing. It's I don't think Nate's saying keep your mouth closed, but notice what you're doing. And use your brain
over stupid stuff.
Use your brain. At no point in time has anybody politically been prosecuted like a Jew in the Holocaust or a black person 400 years ago in America. Nobody, I don't care who they are politically, has been prosecuted to that level. Nobody.
And if it ever gets to that level, then that's a problem.
Oh,
History
well, I
should
had
not
somebody
be
tell
repeated.
me, well, first they came for her. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you really going to use that line? The whole first they came for this. And Nate, I'm sorry, that was, I think, was on your thread. One of your friends replied and said something.
Replied to me? Yeah.
No. He replied to me or something saying, well, her voice is being silenced. No, she wasn't kicked off of Twitter. She wasn't kicked off of Twitter. She lost her job. She wasn't kicked off of Twitter.
And also, like, people lose their jobs for posting on social media all the time. That's not new.
Yes, that's nothing new. There's been CEOs
that have been fired from Starbucks, normal just baristas, because the wrong person saw what they said about the company.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not out of nowhere that people get fired from saying the wrong thing on social media. It's not new. It's not cancel culture.
No,
people are just dumb.
People are dumb. Some people are dumb. But so next week we're going to be on WandaVision episode 7. There are 2 more episodes left after this. So there's a total of 3 episodes. We're going to episode 9. I'm wondering if episode 8 and 9 are going to be just taking place outside of the TV sphere, and it's just going to be Wanda and Vision and maybe Monica fighting the big bad. Who may, we don't know, turn out to be Hayworth. We don't know. Hayworth could be manipulating all this. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be Mephisto, though. I don't think they're ready to introduce that. They might. I mean, they got Dormammu. They could introduce him. Somebody brought up somebody else that, and Nate, you might not remember, but the Mad Thinker, was the guy in Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I remember.
Arnold Zoloff. Well, he's not the Mad Thinker. He was what was his name? Can't think of his stupid. He had a.
Isn't there like some guy that floats around in a chair with a big brain?
No. That's MODOK you're thinking about. No, he was just Zola. He was he's the computer. The guy stuck inside a computer. They put his brain inside of the computer.
I remember him.
And he was talking to Steve, and he's like, "Captain, you fool! I'm just here to keep you stalled while a missile is coming at you."
Yeah.
So, and then after this is over, we're gonna have Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts up, and then after that is Loki. At the same time, Black Widow comes out in May. Mm-hmm. Should be coming out. But I do want to have maybe a one-off episode. And I don't think we ever discussed this, guys. But Tenet, I want to go over Tenet, and I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I've never seen
it. Yes, Nate, have you seen it?
I don't smoke weed. My brain don't turn that way. I tried. I'll watch it again. But you got to be high in the mud.
I watched it twice. I watched it 3 times.
Don't turn that way.
I've seen it twice in IMAX, and then I've seen it at home.
Okay, question.
I love that movie.
Is it crazier than Inception?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to watch it at least twice.
Oh, Lord.
You got to watch it, take 5, have a drink,
and watch it again.
And then watch it again, because that's some damn.
And your boy Edward's in it, so I thought you would love to watch it.
Dude, I'm saying to myself, I was like, I need to call Al Hauser. I need that strong stuff. What the hell? What is this? You got to be high in the mud. You got to be mushroom high. You got to be hard. Damn. And I ain't never
trying to see
fellas in the hall.
I'm trying to see who has it. I don't think Amazon Prime has it.
Are you on HBO Max?
I don't think so.
I ain't never done no mushrooms, but I don't watch movies and videos when people talk about it. And I'm like, was they smoking that when they made this? What the hell?
Mm-hmm.
I'm down. I'm trying to watch it. I'm open.
I'm okay to do it. I'm trying to think. My brain don't.
I might have to rent it for you, Christina, because I think it's only for rent. It's like $6 on YouTube or Vudu or Google Play or Amazon Prime.
No, you can rent it on Amazon.
Yeah, it's $5.99 though, right?
Right. It's you can get it on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
When you do, just know
You're gonna have to watch it twice.
you're going. No. What I'm saying is, you gotta commit a weekend because it ain't gonna make no damn sense.
You know what? The first time I watched it, I was like, okay, and some of it did make sense, but then the second time I watched it, I was like, oh.
Like me going back and rewatching 1 through 7 of Game of Thrones. Oh.
Or anybody watching MCU.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
There's so many Easter eggs all over MCU when you actually look.
And maybe because we're all used to Star Wars, which was more straightforward. And yes, some things did come into play later on, but honestly, because of the order that everything came out in, you knew a lot of stuff. The only biggest reveal was the whole Darth Vader thing. Other than that, there was no big surprise that was like, oh my God, I can't believe that. I mean, other than Vader, Nate, what was any other loop-de-loop like you see in MCU where you have to watch everything to know what's going on? No? Can you hear us? Are you?
Oh, I mean, I love how people thought that was like a big reveal, but if
it was in the 80s.
But I mean, literally, Darth Vader in Dutch means Darth Father.
Oh, I didn't know. I was 10. What was I? 11, 12 when it came out? I wasn't paying attention to that.
I mean,
did you really go back and do the Dutch thing back then?
Yeah, but I went and looked it up like years later. Of course, when we first watched it, we were like, oh, but then later on, I was like, wait a minute. What does Darth Vader mean? So I did. I took it to the search. I said, shut up. They just gave you the answer.
It's been there the whole time.
I said, I got played like a punk.
Mm-hmm.
I had a
point. That's how
Vader, supposedly Vader will be coming back in the Obi-Wan series because Obi-Wan's going to take place up until the fight with Vader on the Death Star.
Yeah. Hayden
will be back as Vader in the costume because, of course, Sebastian Shaw, God rest his soul, is gone. And I'm sure James will still do the voice.
James Earl Jones.
But
not him. I don't want it.
So they'll be fighting, in Obi-Wan will, I think, end with Obi-Wan joining back to the Force. I wonder if they're going to bring in Darth Maul, because Darth Maul did fight him in Rebels when Luke was a baby.
I'm having a hard time. Help me.
Uh-huh.
Where is this new Obi-Wan series going to land?
Disney Plus.
No. I know where it's what time frame?
It's literally the time between Revenge of the Sith and when he fights Vader in
A New Hope.
A New Hope.
A New Hope, yeah.
So I didn't know they had fought between Revenge. I know they had the big, huge Revenge of the Sith. Vader gets hacked up. You were the chosen one. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have the high ground, Anakin.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I get that. So I didn't know they had fought other times.
No. The only other time they fought was on the Death Star after that. So in the background, it's going to be kind of like how...
and I thought that he went in hiding for the last 30, 40 years.
Yes, he was. But Maul found him in Rebels on Tatooine, thanks to Ezra. So there was that whole thing. And then the only other thing, it's supposed to go... Yes. Oh. That's how Maul ended up. He fought Obi-Wan one last time. And Obi-Wan won.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the last thing that Maul asked him was, is this the chosen one? And he was talking about Luke. And Obi-Wan was like, yes, it was. It is. Although I still don't think either one of them was the chosen one. This is just bull.
Who needs Skywalkers?
No, all we need is a Palpatine.
She could have been anybody else.
She could have been Obi-Wan's long-lost daughter.
We can talk about this forever.
But I want to thank all of our viewers for joining us. I know this has been an extra long show. We've been on for almost 2 hours now, discussing not only WandaVision, but the results of people's actions, which I didn't think that need to really be said, but it is results of people's actions. And then also, the future of WandaVision.
That people like to be oblivious and like to live in their own little bubble and act like things in the real world don't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Nate, any shout outs or anything you want to plug?
Get ready to dance tomorrow. Now listen, I'm gonna tell you, Fiel 106.1, the old school drive from 1 to 5 with me, Big Nate. It's gonna be on the radio airwaves, and we're gonna be this mountain time. So, it's an hour ahead of Central Time. So, if my Chicago people tune in, it's 2 to 6. Well, yeah, that's old school drive.
2 to 6.
So, it's 2 to 6. But my thing is, a couple of hours in, listen, I'm letting you know that myself and all the other people that work at KPZE are not responsible if there's going to be an uptick in babies created because you got into the music too much. It's not my fault. All I did was play the songs. What you did after that was your business.
Why you gotta play baby making music on the radio?
Hey, listen, I'm only trying to help the peoples. I'm just trying to help the peoples. Whatever you did with it from that point on, if they look up and there's a 20 to 30% uptick.
Look, sir, I already know I'm a Valentine's Day baby, okay? I already know because I'm a Scorpio. I already know.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm home.
CJ, any shout outs you want to get?
Happy Valentine's Day to the world. Try not to go crazy. Go get the vaccine if you're gonna go get it. Please do, for the love of God. Yeah. Enjoy your weekend, guys.
Mm-hmm. And I'm signing off, and we're all signing off. So y'all have a good night, and thank you all for joining us.
Peace.